If you can see my slide, give me a thumbs up, sir. Oh, that's what I like to see. Hey, everybody. It is 1900 on my clock. It is a Tuesday, the second Tuesday of April, to be precise, which tells me it's that time again. It is time for the monthly South Branch All Hands Call. Appreciate you all so much for hopping on here. I think, as everybody senses, it has been a busy start to the season. We'll talk about that in just a sec. But before we get into all that wildness, a couple of friendly reminders about the ground rules. First, just monitor your own microphone. Make sure you're staying on mute unless you are one of the designated presenters for a section. If you do have a question, feel free to drop her in the chat. We'll answer those throughout the call as best we can. Or if you have an additional follow-on question at the end of the call, we'll stick around at the end, answer everybody's calls till y'all get tired and go home. Aside from that, we'd like to keep this lively and fast-paced, so we'll be kicking through this as fast as we can. If you don't know who I am, my name is Drew Hanna. I'm the Deputy Ops Director for the South Branch. I live currently in the great state of Texas. My job is to make sure that all y'all are able to get out in the field and help people. So I support this whole team in doing that. Aside from that, this is our standing agenda for the call. So we'll just start off with our situation update, roll through all of our functional teams. If you aren't sure what those functional teams are, you'll see them one at a time as we bounce through the call. And then our geographic areas will brief out on all of their activities, which, as we've talked about, has been quite a bit. We'll have our brief moment of Zen and some announcements, and we'll close her out with a leadership rep from our fearless leader, Son Walker. So that is the highlights of where we're going. But quick just update and discussion on where we've been. Wow, that graphic shrunk down somehow since I posted this. Well, if you can see that teeny tiny map of the United States there, that is a map of every tornado strike in the first 3 months of the year. We are currently at 410 confirmed tornadoes for 2023, which is an update to what I posted this morning. I said nearly record setting. This is a new record. That update got posted about 5 hours ago. So if y'all have felt a little busy, if you feel like every time you turn around, there's a new mission planning team kicking off, or it feels like we're constantly responding to some tornado somewhere, it's because we have been. This is been one of the busiest starts to the year that I certainly remember, and the data there backs us up. Now, the teams will kind of walk through what those responses have looked like and what our efforts have been and will be moving forward as we drive through the different geographic areas and functions. But it's a huge credit to this whole team that you guys have been rolling with those punches, coming right off of Sunshine Strong and all of the efforts from Hurricane Ian into a tornado season where I think we had a down week, if I remember correctly, and then have just been right back at it ever since, all through March. Aside from that, as we look forward for the rest of the year, I posted in the Gray Skies chat a while back. The spring flood forecast is up. Not so bad for us. Supposed to hit the north and west branches a little bit harder, so we might see some more operations kick off in those two branches that we could be called to support. But the big thing, always for us, the biggest annual event of the year, the Atlantic hurricane season. We are just about 54 days out, if I remember correctly. We're under 2 months. So it is coming down fast for us. Tornado season, as busy as it is, and as much as we work hard to respond to all those, generally the warm up for what is Team Rubicon's main event of the year, that Atlantic hurricane season. Now, this cycle, if you guys haven't been reading about it, so we're currently transitioning from the La Nina to the El Nino. There's a whole bunch of change in the atmosphere right now as that cycle shifts around. And they haven't come out with the official National Weather Service forecast for us yet. But at least so far, all the predictions have been in line for a normal season, not the elevated seasons that we've had the past couple of years. But as we all know, we don't really look at those forecasts in terms of, a prediction of how bad a storm is going to be. Storm doesn't have to be a Cat 5 to have major impacts on a population. And a tornado doesn't have to tear all the way through, the great state of Florida to have significant impacts. So we will be ready. There'll be a lot more discussion as we get closer to the Atlantic hurricane season about preparatory steps that we are taking both as a branch internally and as an organization writ large. And we'll have lots of opportunities for everyone on this team to plug in and make sure that we're well situated for the season to come. But that being said, I'm now going to hand it over to Ken, who is going to give us our planning update.
Thanks, Drew. I'm Ken Lemansky. I'm part of the South Branch planning team. I'm also one of the local planners here in San Antonio, Texas. So I'm glad to see everybody out here tonight. Planning so far for 2023, 11 hazard events, less than 3 a month right now, 39 mission planning teams meetings, 19 outboards, 14 WARNOs, and right now it's only April. And what's in progress right now is South Florida for Ian. We're still doing some recovery operations down here in Florida. Tallapoosa, Alabama, Advon Type 4 response. And then Jacksonville, Arkansas, Recon Type 4. And apparently my update didn't make the slide. We've also started working on Pine Mountain, Georgia for a recovery. And that has to do with the storms back in March that when the tornadoes came through Mississippi and Georgia. So that's it for planning for right now. We are busy, but we are here to help you guys. Drew?
Thank you, Ken. And yeah, you can see right there in the numbers the impacts from those tornadoes we saw. And as we get into the individual geo areas, we'll hear a lot more about some of these ops and planning. With that being said, from ops and planning to active operations, I'll hand it over to Phil.
Hey friends, Phil Ditto here. I am your Kentucky, Tennessee, and North Mississippi field readiness leader, which means I have been incredibly busy the last couple of weeks. And I am very fortunate enough to be on a team of really amazing Metro field readiness folks in that area as well. And I will be bringing your briefing from East Tennessee tonight. And so really what we have going on is Magnolia Spur, which I think is very clever, MS. Mississippi, Magnolia Spur. It's getting ready to demob their operation today. They've done a tremendous amount of work out that way and have really helped out the community of Amory, Mississippi. So that is now our second operation in Mississippi in probably the last 8 weeks now. So that's pretty awesome. Unfortunate for them, but great that we're getting shit done. Obviously, we got United Together, the rebuild activity in Selma, Alabama. If you have gray shirts, if you're feeling the need to deploy, that is a great opportunity to get involved and to rebuild instead of push to the side or getting things mucked out. So always a great opportunity to have some restoration and some long-term resiliency there. Fort Wayne, Arkansas is responding to their tornado event. We got the Creaky Jungle Gyms. I don't know who named that, but that's pretty amazing. Creaky Jungle Gyms. Fire mitigation op in Texas. I'm going to blame Elizabeth because that seems appropriate. And obviously, as we've already heard on the previous slide deck, we got a lot of operations and planning. As Drew highlighted, the tornado event, like 56, hundreds of tornadoes, like it's nuts. And so this is a great time to get your go bags ready, find some time to deploy, get out there, seek out those leadership roles, maybe do some C&G staff, because that's what field readiness loves to do is find leaders, get them, identify them, train, mentor, and engage them for command and general staff roles. So if you're interested in command and general staff, reach out to one of your field readiness leaders. That brings me to this next slide, which, as Oscar likes to say, It's good to be great, but it's better to make others great. And so what we're currently looking at is we're staffing MPTs. We're looking at recon and advon available folks to go on the multitude of missions that we just briefed. We're looking at our command general staff readiness. This is a great place to step into the arena in a lot of variety of roles. So if you haven't done this and maybe it's a little bit intimidating for you, it's all right, friends. We've all been there. We all start at someplace, and we are all there to help mentor and guide you through the process. There's lots of roadmaps to get you there. And with that, we'd like to welcome the incredible Jen Needier, and she's in Dallas-Fort Worth. Jen is the obviously the magician of all things, logistician, it's been around forever. Jen, we love her. Welcome to Field Readiness. And then so training, right? Like just to go back to my earlier point, if you want to do command general staff, look at all that amazing virtual training that is put together for you. Sign up, get involved, get your training on, and let's get you out in the field. And with that, I believe my man Derek has got a mobilization update for us.
Good evening, friends. I am Derek. That is Derek Berg. I am in the Gulf Coast of Florida. I won't tell you where because we don't need any more visitors. I am part of the mobilization team, and just like everyone else, we've been super busy with all of the recons and getting those people out, and that's what mobilization does. We get the right people out to the right place at the right time. So as we work with the other teams, we want to make sure we've get everyone the opportunity to get out there. And you notice at the top of that, we want to get them back home safe too, which is a key part of what we do. We do have a couple new members. I'm not sure if they've both been introduced or not, so I want to make sure to formally introduce Dan and Jeff. They've both been starting out kicking butt, and we're glad to have them on the team. And as you see right below that, we are a great remote volunteer opportunity. So all those people that say, I can't always get out in the field, I need something to do, Mob is a great place for you to be able to do that, sitting from the comfort of your couch. We do have a monthly Mob call. Is next week, and anyone's invited to do that to kind of see what's going on in Mob. We'll learn a little bit about the South Branch Mob side, and then the functional onboardings for those that are interested in the Mob on that viewpoint is going to be next month. And that is it for Mob. We are going to be quick, like your dispatches. I'm out.
Quick like your dispatch is part of our quest to make this the best volunteer experience ever. With that, we will pass it over to Nolan for our logistics update.
So I am Nolan Sharon. I am from a small town called Randleman. The only thing we have here is Richard Petty. So I am near Greensboro, North Carolina, and I am one of the two South Branch deputy logistics persons. So what we're doing right now for logistics, of course, we count all your things, make sure your trailers and your gear is ready to go for operations or to support any projects that you may have. We help find the vehicles to move the people, right, for your projects and get all the stuff so that when you get to the field that you can get shit done. So our current updates, getting ready to start with our next inventories. So stay tuned to the event section and get out and help out your logs team, particularly if we're taking these trailers out for events. They can always use some extra hands. The upcoming functional onboarding for logistics is 4/26, so I've got the link there. If you have any questions about logistics and logistics manual, I've also included a link to that, and I'm sure it'll be covered later in the slides. But as the Florida Long-Term Recovery Project goes on, we will need some help building out the connexes. So there is a logistics event listed for Florida. We will need lots of help. So please look into that, sign up if you're able. A couple of key points. For insurance reasons, TR-owned equipment can't be stored at the home of Gray Shirt. TR equipment has to go via rental vehicle. And also please slow down when you are towing the trailer. We all want to make it to the finish line. This is a cute little picture of a turtle with a person on it riding to the finish line from the Pocket Museum in Hattiesburg. So we all want you to get there. Let's be safe and get out and have fun. Thanks.
Thank you, Nolan. And with that, we'll hop over to our training update from Mr. Branham.
Good evening, everybody. I am Jeff Branham. I am the South Branch Training Associate. I am currently living in Atlanta, Georgia, and my essential role is to ensure everyone is ready for the next storm season. We have the training that we need, the skills are right, and we're in the right position. So first quarter has been amazing in terms of training. Despite the insane number of disasters that we have already responded to this year, we've managed 23 separate training events. We finished out the quarter with a huge bang at Op Shelby Sunday there in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. We wielded 15 new SAW ones, 6 of which were local to the South Mississippi area. So that is a huge win. We were also fortunate enough to host the C2 and the first ever Field ComSync. The amount of learning and collaboration that we saw during that week was nothing short of astonishing. As we're looking forward to Q2, we've already got 28 trainings in planning. So that is just phenomenal. I think this is going to continue to be a fantastic year. And as always, we are looking to grow the training team. So if you're interested in learning more about what that looks like, please reach out and I'd be happy to talk to you about how you want to contribute. Pending any questions, I'm going to pass this on to finance.
Good evening, everyone. All right, so finance is getting shit done by the numbers. PEX 101, stay active. No, I'm not your life coach, but I want to make sure that your PEX card stays active, even if you're not. And I understand that 66 months is the limit that you should let your PEX card sit in a drawer somewhere without using it. However, you just can't use it at will, but that's the criteria for keeping it active. All right, Concur 101, please file your reports within 10 days of demob. You have a responsibility when you take on a PEX card holder status to make sure that's done. The naming, the way we name our reports is the op name. The business purpose is the EMS number. This is a really important help for your finance people to put that EMS number in there because we have to go back and verify that you were actually there. The location is always where the op or event was held, not where you bought your burger on the way home. Cost center is EMS and op name, hint, recon, adbon, and the op often have different EMS numbers. So if you were on the recon, don't check that you were there for the recon or the adbon or vice versa. So the hit of the day is that little asterisk in red. When you get to the cost center, make sure you start with that and it will start trying to autofill until you find the one you're supposed to be at. Mileage, 2 legs. No, again, I'm not your life coach. Each leg is a day of travel. So if you're at a 3-day op, don't do round trip because you didn't do it all in one day. Do one way. The 3rd day, you're going to do the other way home. All right, meals. Add your receipts, both the charge slip and the breakdown of charges. So that second sheet of paper that says you bought a Taco Bell fajita and chimichangas and all that sort of stuff, we need that number as well. So make sure you copy both. If you are feeding more than one gray shirt, please note that. For instance, 3 gray shirts for dinner. Rename the receipts. This is a big help again for finance people. And we had a discussion on this on the finance call right before this one. So you put 2023-04-11 McDonald's meals and the amount. this really helps us out when we're looking at an op that has 50 some gray shirts and every one of them is buying stuff that we need to identify. So please help finance out. And if you would like to help finance out some more, please feel free to contact me at carol.harrison@Team Rubicon. So if you like the numbers, get in touch. Barring any questions, I will turn it over to the next individual.
Thank you, Kara. And guys, I know we hit you on getting those finance receipts in, but it's so important when we're reporting back to our donors to have that accountability. So we do it for good reason, because we love you and we want to get more money from our donors so you can continue to get shit done in the field. All right, I'm going to kick it over to Laura Block, who's going to talk about.
Hang on, guys, hang on. I wanted to run something past Carol.
Hey, Kenny, could you save that for the end, my friend? We got a lot of material to roll through.
She asked for questions. Never mind, I'll hold.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, so I'm Laura Block, and I live in Cary, North Carolina. And the reason that matters at all is I am one half of our absolutely fabulous branch membership team. We support the area, metro, and geo area membership folks in doing what they do. I can highly recommend membership as a nice starter opportunity for leadership. If you're thinking you might want to do leadership, then membership's a great place to start. The learning curve isn't too horribly steep, and it's a lot of fun. So our current status, you might remember that before we dropped the vaccination policy, we weren't able to tell how many gray shirts were really deployable because it was sort of an opt-in. If you go on an opt, then we know whether you're COVID vaccinated or not. But I can say with some certainty right now that as of this afternoon, 47,000 and change South Branch gray shirts exist, and 13,402 are actually deployable. Our current rate of decrease is about 1.6 new gray shirts a day. We had 95 over the last 60 days. I can tell you that during Ian, this was like up to about, I think, 10 a day. And that's just in the South Branch. I suspect, this is a little anemic because it's not hurricane season, which is just dead sexy. But things might pick up quite a lot towards the end of May. I'd like to say hello to our new membership leaders, Rose Lentz, the North Carolina Geographic Area membership lead in the Central Carolinas, and Trina Cartinez, Metro membership lead for Shreveport, Louisiana Metro. Congratulations to Sherry Sparron for a promotion from Metro, I believe, to the Geo Area membership lead for Georgia and Alabama. And we wave goodbye for a few years to Pamela Piegler, who has moved to South Korea. I should have been specific there, for a few years with her actively deployed husband. That's all out of me. Y'all have a great evening and keep your ears on.
Thank you, Laura. That rolls up our functional briefs, and we're going to start kicking it around the geographies and starting off strong with our South Texas team.
Hey, all, I am Elizabeth Saunders. I am the South Texas Ops Associate, standing in for one of our recently departed volunteer leaders this evening. So I'm skipping to the middle, but we did say goodbye to Jeff Wartalone yesterday as our Lufkin Beaumont admin, and Steve Hudson is also going to be stepping down as admin, but staying involved very much in the chainsaw world and field readiness world. So he will be IC on our op Creaky Jungle Gyms, which I can share credit with Chloe on that one. Jungle Gyms did not pass the Urban Dictionary test, but Creaky Jungle Gyms definitely did. And the op will be taking place at the well-known Carolina Creek. And quick shout out to the two gyms there that we have lost here in the Texas area over the last about 9 months. So that is why that is named the way it is. As you guys can see here, love the team's enthusiasm for all things leadership conference and costumes. So they had a great time diving into the 80s theme, but also, as you see, Tim there not dressed up because he and a few others from South Texas dropped everything and headed out on that QRF with others from the conference. So shout out to everyone who made that. We've got a Rasco and a Saw 1 coming up this weekend, which is super exciting, getting those training numbers up. And we will be kicking off yet another mitigation op next month. So putting that MPT timeline into practice that was recently released. And we promise to see you at TRLC with some more South Texas shenanigans.
Thank you, Elizabeth. And with that, we're going to jump down to our Broad Florida team.
Hi, guys. Sorry. I don't know why I thought I was later in the slide, so that's my bad. So kind of piggybacking off of all the great things that are going on in South Texas in regards to operations. As you guys know, Sunshine Strong happened in Florida. Most of you likely deployed here. And I am Sarah Wickham, the ops associate here that covers South Florida, if you've never met me. But we are still pursuing a lot of the activity from Hurricane Ian still. Our main focused counties are still Hardee, DeSoto, Lee, Charlotte, and Sarasota. We are picking up some one-off work requests out of FEMA, but we're very embedded into those communities, and our local teams are pushing those connections greatly. And there's still a lot of muck-outs to do. A lot of the homes have transitioned into the rebuild phase, so those are conversations that are happening, but know that your hands are still needed, and so keep your eyes out for opportunities in Florida. We do have a pending op coming up this weekend. We're working on some final details, but in addition to that op, we've identified 5 other potential recovery operations, and we're just getting final details around for that. So like I said, the chance to come to Florida is still there. We also have a number of events between North and South Florida. Some training this weekend, core ops, instructor ones, good times to connect through Wellness Wednesdays. And of course, with our new North Florida Ops Associate, Tanya, whom a lot of you have all met, the connections are starting to be pushed out there. So be on the lookout for future opportunities in North Florida as well. But either way, the connections are great, and it's all due to the hard work of the community outreach that you guys have also done from all of the disasters that happen here, unfortunately. So I'm going to turn it to Tanya to see if she has anything that she wants to shout out to her team as well.
Not a whole lot. Just want to say hi to those who I haven't had a chance to meet yet. Working really hard to meet all of the leaders in North Florida, and then working my way through the state, through my GO, so I can start meeting some of the other volunteers, some of the gray shirts, and get things happening in North Florida. But I'm excited to meet you all, and happy Volunteer Appreciation Week a little bit early.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Sarah and Tanya. In addition to other people Tanya met during her first few weeks here, she met the governor of Florida. So she really started at the top, working her way all the way down to the rest of the state. All right, with that, we will kick it back west to North Texas and Oklahoma.
Hey, good evening, y'all. Dennis Crawford, Operations Associate for Oklahoma North Texas. So March saw the launch of Operation Lovehurst, and I promise not to sing you that op name, but that is where it came from, where North Texas Gray Shirts responded to Hurst, Texas, and performed chainsaw operations to clear vegetative debris from residential properties. An interesting note, this response was actually the result of a fire chief that we conducted a 2.5-month COVID response with. Reached out, recalled TR's work, and said he had an opportunity for us to serve the residents of his community. A direct quote from that operation said, "Just this morning, I was thinking about how we won't be able to recover." And that really stuck with the gray shirts out there that had responded. We also have in planning a recovery project in Red River County in the Tyler Longview Metro. Our recon uncovered about 6 miles of county roads with damaged trees. Not having the budget or equipment resources, the county would actually be stuck with the damage and debris, which would later turn into a tinderbox as the wood dried out without Team Rubicon's assistance. We do have a few events coming up this month, but I wanted to highlight the service project coming up this Saturday. It's going to be our third with the Serenity Veterans Village, and that's since mid-February. It's run by one person, so the work hours that Team Rubicon has provided over the last couple months roughly doubles what they'd received previously. And then in turn, this is going to house homeless veterans. But before I go, I wanted to announce a couple recent changes to volunteer leadership in Oklahoma, North Texas. There's been some upward movement in our logs as David has moved from Metro to Geo Area Logs lead. Andy has moved up to the Metro Logs lead, and JC is our new Logs deputy. We also have on board Jen Nider, who is now the Metro Field Readiness. And lastly, Robin Lawrence in Oklahoma, who has committed her time to step into the arena and serve as a catalyst to the events in Oklahoma. And back to you, Drew.
Thank you, Dennis, and definitely love to see putting people into homes, no matter what kind of activity it is that got them out of it. We are going to kick it next to Jim, who's going to talk about Georgia and Alabama.
Thanks, Drew. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jim Tochterman. I'm your friendly Geo Area admin for Georgia and Alabama. For those who don't already know, I go by JT because there's just way too many Jims in TR. And I'm over here in abnormally cold Augusta. We're getting back to normal now that the tourist occupation of the past week has ended. We've been staying busy in between tornadoes. A couple response recovery operations, as previously mentioned, the United Together rebuild, and one in planning for Camp Hill, Alabama, which looks like it's going to be either Type 4 or Type 5, working with tarping and monking out. Our recently completed events, we helped our friends out over in the Atlanta area at Habitat for Humanity. And coming up, we have a couple of outreach and relationship building events for this hurricane season down in Savannah and Chatham County, and the Emergency Managers Association of Georgia. Upcoming trainings, we've got a Trainsaw 1 coming up, as well as a proficiency development, and a additional core operations Sawyer and Recon Advine trainings are in the April pipeline. And we'll be continuing our ongoing various supports of state and local VOADs and our EMAs. I'm going to call out 2 of our leaders. Jim Woodham has been really pushing getting Sawyer trainings stood up to make our team stronger. He has really been crushing it this year. And Sharon Sinclair, while not a member of the Geo Area team here, she's with our Carolina team. Many may not know, we have a couple of South Carolinians, Carolina counties that are in our Geo Area because of their proximity to larger metros. She has been helping us with one of those VOADs in those counties, and also been helping get some service projects off the ground that are technically in her state. So we really appreciate her help in providing that continuity between the states. As always, and like everybody else, we are looking for volunteer leaders in the Geo Area to help us row the boat. If you know of anyone looking for an adventure, please send them our way. Back to you, Drew.
Thanks, Jim. And speaking of the Carolinas, that is our next team. So we'll rotate there.
Okay. My name is Chris Phillips. I'm the Eastern Carolinas Administrator. We've just got a new ops associate. Her name is Miss Annette. We'd like to welcome her on board. And we have a ton of stuff going on in the Carolinas. We're working on relationships. We've got a bunch of events coming up. I'm not going to read over the slide, but we just have a ton of stuff going on here in the Carolinas, and we're just happy to be here. Back to you, Drew.
Short and sweet, just how we like it. With that, we're going to jump over to our, I don't even know how you guys say it anymore. Louisiana, Arkansas, South Mississippi team, however we acronym that.
Yeah, I've been noodling that. I haven't found a good acronym that works. But hey, everybody, if we haven't had the opportunity to meet yet, I'm Evan Witt, and I'm the Operations Associate for Arkansas, Louisiana, southern half of Mississippi. So we've had a lot in motion over here with our response operation ongoing in Wynne, Arkansas, as we previously mentioned. And we've got another recon team heading out tomorrow morning to connect with the Jacksonville Fire Chief in Arkansas and verify any unmet needs as that community connects with, as that community moves into long-term recovery. Big thanks to everyone who has supported our impact in Arkansas, whether that be on a mission planning team, recon advon, or deploying to the field. Our Arkansas leadership team will continue driving forward to support these communities during the long-term recovery, coordinating our efforts with the Arkansas VOAD and long-term recovery groups as we get those stood up. It's been really awesome. I have a couple call outs. Our Arkansas volunteer team did make up 40% of the mission planning team, which is a first time for us. And then we've made up 26% of all of the deployers on the ops. So it's really exciting that we're getting more and more local. I'm excited to welcome two awesome individuals to our team. I have Melissa, who's going to be jumping in as our Arkansas Comms PIO lead. So she comes with us with an extensive background in EM certification programs and is going to be graduating from Arkansas Tech with her bachelor's in emergency management next month. So she has a really powerful way of telling Team Rubicon's story and mission. So really looking forward to her adding her touch to our Arkansas team. And then I have Trish will be coming in as the membership lead for the Shreveport Metro. She earned her gray shirt last year and has continued to get it dirty on 6 operations, as well as getting shit done as a SAW 1 and strike team leader. So she's already been full steam ahead. She's represented TR at the Barksdale Air Force Air Show last month, as well as already booking lots of member engagements in the Shreveport area to get folks out. So really excited for them to step into the arena and continue doing great things. With that, I will pass it back to you, Drew.
Thank you, Evan. Definitely appreciate all the efforts from that team, keeping it growing and jumping. And then we're going to close up our geographic roundup with our Tenkill, Mississippi team. Is that right,
Mississippi. Mississippi.
I can't
Mississippi. One of these days, you guys will pronounce it right. Hi, I'm Kate Emerald. For those of you who I have not met yet, which hopefully is not that many people on this call. I'm the operations associate for Mississippi, which is Kentucky, Tennessee, North Mississippi. I live in Sparta, Tennessee, which is in a magical triangle halfway between Nashville, Knoxville, and Chattanooga. So here on the Cumberland Plateau. Really excited to highlight and honestly, guys, for the last couple of months since we did one of these reviews, our team has been so busy I could have put together like 3 different slides. But just going to hit the highlights. As you've heard earlier, we did have Operation Magnolia Spur, which demobilized today. Really appreciative to all of the gray shirts that got out there in the field. That operation, again, as Phil had mentioned, is our second, actually technically our third, but our second actual operation there in Mississippi this calendar year. And so it's really exciting to see that team building out there and for us to get more engaged in an area that we have not been over the years. I also want to highlight Operation Bear Affair, which was the QRF that you've heard mentioned and that some of you guys were a part of. The picture there on the top is from the mission planning for Bear Affair, which was a quick response that came about as from a request for assistance that we got from the state. They called my cell phone and said, hey, we need a chainsaw team to go and help. And we had gray shirts, of course, in Hattiesburg for our conference and for our training exercise after that. So we were able to pivot some of those gray shirts, send them out on a one-day operation where they were able to help the local community there, like I said, at the request of the state. Those 2 operations, guys, are pivotal. But we've also had additional operations here, in the last 4 months that are extremely important. Some of those are going to continue, such as the Letcher County flood recovery. We do have an ISR that will be going in for that for our May rendition of that recovery. We are coming up shortly on the 1 year from that. So that'll be in July, and we are still working in Letcher County. So it's really awesome to see that team building out. We actually now have a city coordinator in Letcher County. So for those of you guys, like, we have a metro admin, but we also have a city coordinator, a local point of contact there where we know flooding will be an issue. So really excited to, again, build that team out and continue to get gray shirts in the field. The Fayette County, Kentucky Storm Recovery. This is, do y'all remember that big old windstorm we had? Not like tornadoes, but like the big hurricane thing where there was not really any rain, but it was just crazy like 3 or 4 weeks ago. Well, guess what? There are 50 homes in need of assistance from that in the Lexington, Kentucky area. So we're going to be plugging in with those folks. And then McNairy County, Tennessee was hit with the latest rendition of the tornadoes. We have a recon going out this weekend there for unmet needs as well. Really want to give a shout out to our West Tennessee area, our area admin out there, Brian Swanson. We call that our River Delta area. So that would be West Tennessee and North Mississippi. He oversees that area, but he has been on the horn with 13 county emergency managers at a regular basis, pretty much daily, to check and make sure that we're not missing anything just because the media has left. So huge shout out to Brian for that. Training. Dude, they're killing it. Our training team is always killing it. A couple of highlights that I want to give is that at Magnolia Spur, we were able to train 14 people in roof tarping. This was an actual class that took place that was led by the MTT. And so we have those folks, and they're all South Branchers. So what does that mean? More people that can teach just-in-time training on and off and get folks out there and get their roofs tarped. So that's really, really exciting. We have 7 training events planned in the next 90 days. And our Chainsaw Proficiency Weekend, which is that bottom photo there, yielded 2 new AS1s. I also want to give a shout out to Topher Hedrick. If you have not met Topher yet, well, you're missing out. Topher is a very brand newly minted AS1 and HESI. So he has come in, kicked in the door, and absolutely is just killing it out there. So we're excited to have him as part of our training team, but also as part of our heavy equipment cadre as this state continues to build out, and not only its HE capability, but its QRF availability. Biggest highlight for me and for this team is that we have 24 newly fully deployable gray shirts in 2023. We've had 11 of those in the last month, 9 of those from North Mississippi alone. So just to put in perspective, we came into 2023 with 40 deployable gray shirts in North Mississippi. We now have 49. This is huge growth for those of you numbers and stats people, but we want to keep that trajectory going. We also have 2 new volunteer leaders in that area as well. We've added so many volunteer leaders that, quite frankly, I cannot list them all on the slides, but I want to say thank you to the Kennesapi team for continuing to put up with our crazy weather and their crazy leader. Bye, guys.
Thank you, Kate. That was quite the whirlwind. And after that storm, we all need a moment of calm. So I'm going to pass it over to our wellness team.
Hey guys, my name's Apri. I'm with the Wellbeing Group. So just a quick update on some of the things that we're working on. We're continuing to work with the other branches and national to standardize some of our processes. The one that we're working on right now is how to respond when a gray shirt passes away. So right now we're just trying to get some things in place to help us standardize across the branches. So more to come as we get those kind of put in place. And we're also planning to brainstorm more of those areas of need and how to streamline different things at TRLC. So we're really looking forward to the well-being peeps being able to get together and really just do a deep dive into planning those things out. So that's kind of the well-being update for now. And if Drew, you'll hit my next slide. So here's your mental health tidbit. Here are 10 signs that you may be overwhelmed. We know that there is a lot going on across the branch right now, so I would encourage everyone to check in with their mental health and just make sure they are doing okay. Here are 10 quick signs that maybe you ought to reach out to some of your friendly well-being people for some more information or just to talk to somebody. If our sleep is off, whether we're sleeping too much or not sleeping enough, if we're feeling tired, no matter how much sleep we're getting, if our energy is low, if we feel like our anxiety is high or we're really stressed out, if your appetite has changed, if you have trouble focusing, lack of motivation, you start withdrawing or keeping to yourself, or we find ourselves a little bit emotional or more moody than usual. These are all some signs that you ought to reach out to someone like me on the well-being team and let us talk to you about what's going on and try to help you find some balance or just some good old-fashioned coping skills that you can carry with you both in and out of the field. So that is your well-being update.
Thank you, Pri. As if you're reading that list and thinking, that describes me perfectly, and you're a new parent, that's totally normal. But if you're not a new parent, if you've just been deploying a bunch, please listen to a Pri. TR has a whole book full of resources they can connect you with, and your well-being team can be your tour guide. Make sure we get you right before we get you back in the field. Next on the slate is announcements, and we have a big one this month, and that is, a drum roll please, we are welcoming Derek Berg as a full-time employee. He is our new MOB associate. Y'all have seen Derek on these calls repping in the MOB role for months and months now. He has been working hard to build the team, working on helping us improve the process behind the scenes. All in all, doing a really solid job. We're super excited to have him make the leap out of being a leased role and into a full-time employee. Derek, do you have any words you want to say to the nice people? I know you are a verbose man.
Oh, that is me in a nutshell. I love to talk and I love to share. No, I'm just thankful for the opportunity, thankful for the being able to support all of you as you work to get out in the field and the other gray shirts. So I will continue to do that and hopefully serve you all well. As always, feel free to reach out with any questions or concerns, or if you just want to share some bourbon stories, I'll be glad to participate. That was an honest slip, I swear. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Derek. And congrats again, my friend. And then that really took us all the way through all of our functions, all of our geographic areas. A few quick call outs from me. We have talked a ton about how busy the month was, how busy the upcoming months are. We went from Storm to the South Branch Leadership Conference to the South Branch Training Exercise to another storm. We've just continued to launch operations, are now looking down the barrel of TRLC. So want to double, triple, quadruple tap. Make sure you guys are changing your socks. We know there's a ton happening. We appreciate all of the work you guys are doing to make this machine run. And most importantly, get our services, get support to these communities that need it. When you see it on the ground, we see the impacts you guys are making. It is changing the lives of these disaster survivors for the better, but we want to make sure you guys are taking care of yourselves as well. So make sure you're changing your socks, you're logging off of Teams, you're not checking your email for periods. Make sure you're letting people know when you're doing that, so we know it's just because you're purposefully taking time off and haven't driven into a ditch or something terrible like that. But continue to self-monitor, self-regulate, and continue to be you. That about wraps it up for the formal presentation. So I will pass the microphone over to our fearless leader, Sam Walker, to close us out.
Hey, thanks, Drew. First of all, I want to just thank everyone for being on the call tonight. This is probably one of my favorite times of the month when we have these, because I love hearing our volunteer leaders collaborate with our FTEs out there and talk about the great work that you guys are doing out there. What I would love to see is more, even when we get to those geo areas, to brief out, but I would love for each one of those areas of our calls to be led by volunteer leaders, man, because like I said before, we wouldn't be anywhere without our colleagues that are volunteering to assist us to serve these communities and also represent TR. You guys know that we've had a busy first quarter of the year, kind of extending what we were going through in the last few months of 2022.
Again, you guys are always resilient, dedicated, and diligent about what you guys do. I know that you guys are going to remain that way because we're going to need you. We're not even in hurricane season. We're just tapping into spring, and we see what has happened so far. I want to say that I was happy to see most of you guys on the call at the South Branch Leadership Conference, is also our training exercise, aka Shelby Sunday. Got to talk with a whole bunch of you guys. Love the advice, the recommendations that you guys provided. I hope you guys know, just like I said there, that you guys know that we take what you guys give to us, what you guys recommend to us, to heart. I know that Elizabeth sent out a survey, and hopefully most of you guys have received that. Please be open and honest with that. Let us know what we've done well, but also let us know what we can do to improve, because like I said before, we will listen to you guys. Also, looking forward to a lot of you guys at TRLC. I'm glad that it's in Orlando and not in Colorado. A little too out there for me in Colorado. I think I've been there once. So Orlando should be great, man. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys, to learn, grow, collaborate again, and get to know each other a bit better there as well. Also want to let you guys know that we have the responses, we have the mitigation, and we have the recovery. But I want you guys to really, build upon the just-in-time training, just like Kate said, just like Jeff has said. Having those training exercise on ops is something that we want to kind of mature and do more consistent, so we can make sure that we can upskill our volunteers and also our full-time employees when they come out there as well. So look forward to doing more of those types of operations as well. What I want you guys to do is pay attention what Apri shared with you guys. Apri, if you can share that in the link, the list of those 10 things to let you know that if you are sitting there and you're kind of going through any of those problems on there, I think about 7 of those, I think that I have some of those symptoms, but that's just me. I've been like that for like 15 years. But pay close attention to those things, man, and understand that you have everyone that's on this call and people that are not on this call to talk to when you're going through those things. Make sure you're communicating. Make sure you're sharing your thoughts, whether they're good, bad, or indifferent. Share them. I mean, sometimes you feel so much better when you can just communicate with someone and share your thoughts. Guys, again, we have a long season to go. I don't call it blue or gray skies anymore. You say a long season to go. Just like when my Cowboys and Manchester United get back in and play again, it's a long season. And we're all trying to get to the Super Bowl, just like my Cowboys hadn't been there like 20 plus years, but they will get there next year. But again, guys, thank you guys for joining this call. I know it's a late night. I know Drew said, hey, we're going to ask some questions. I know Kenny had a question for Carol, so we'll stay on. I'll pass it over to you, Drew. But if you guys have questions, please let us know.
Thanks, son. And he called it. This is the end of the call. We have no more presentation to give. You don't have to stay here. You can go on to the rest of your evening. But if you have questions, raise your hands in the air. Use a little hand raise icon so we can work through them one at a time. I believe Elizabeth might have a saved round, so I'll go to her first. And then Kenny, who is probably up next, as he is here with his finest question. Carol's still here. And then anybody else who has a question. But the recording is turning off as soon as I can click the button. Have a great rest of your April, and I'll see y'all in a mission planning call